Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and in today's video, we're going to take a look at a replay from Anarion 1 from the clan Buenas Noches on the NA server, and he's playing in the Yamato, the tier 10 Japanese battleship, and he's playing some ranked domination here on Riposte. And if you saw by the team score, the team list, well, yours truly, Snek here, is on the enemy team. Now, obviously, we usually save our community replays for the weekend on Saturday. However, this was a replay that the second that I opened it up and I saw it, I immediately remembered, oh yeah, that was this guy in this absolutely crazy game on Riposte. So, you guys are going to get to see me on the enemy team, which generally doesn't happen in BIA. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, maybe but a handful of the 800 or so odd videos that we've uploaded by now have had me on the enemy team. So this is about as rare as it gets, folks, and yours truly is going to have a pretty big game as well. So we're going to get into some close quarters combat later on in the game. So definitely enjoy, and whenever my time appears on screen, I'll definitely be the first to point out some of the mistakes that I make as well. But Anarion 1 here, I'll just stick to Anna. He is in the Yamato, and we all know what the Yamato is fantastic at. The Yamato, of course, has the very big sticks, the 18.1-inch guns that are able to overmatch all of the important armor in the game. So what this means is that it doesn't really matter the angling, unless you're in a midway or a Hakuryu with your 50mm plus deck armor coming into play. These Yamato shells are going to be able to overmatch pretty much anything. Other ships, a Bowen, Moskva, or Stalingrad with that 50mm midsection will also do the job in other parts of the ship, but these guns pretty much low pen most of the stuff that you come across in-game, and they have such high alpha damage, and they're also very accurate with the best battleship sigma in the game at 2.1, that the Yamato is still one of the best battleships in terms of gun performance, if not still the absolute best. Now, with the legendary module, you can also get your accuracy down even more, which is fantastic, and when combined with the sigma, as you see some shells falling on me, 11,248 damage with just 2 pens and 1 over-penetrating shot. So a good opening salvo on me. However, I do pick up the first blood on that Henri IV of Jax. So picking up the first blood for my team, it's already 340 to 240, and now it's time to go back. As you can see, Anna and his team, basically he's down here by himself to the southwest of the B cap, and everybody else is made a beeline towards that A objective point. I eat 3 more pens from him for another 10,000 plus damage. So in those 2 short salvos, you can see the Yamato has no trouble dealing with Republiques at any range. The Republique is covered in 32mm of plating, deck armor, bow and stern armor, so it definitely makes a tasty XP pinata for an enemy Yamato player that knows how to aim. Now this right here is pretty ridiculous. Right as that enemy Henri goes undetected, Anna takes a shot downrange at him, and any second now he's going to go track the shells in on the target, and as he does, yeah, a huge nuclear devastation on that tier 10 French heavy cruiser. 40k plus salvo with triple citadel and more pens. Absolutely ridiculous, and Arion right there manages just a ginormous salvo. And Henri does have a notoriously tricky citadel to hit at medium ranges and longer ranges as well. It's kind of difficult to find it, but if you do manage to do so, generally it's right behind the smokestack, plunging in where the torpedoes are at. So it definitely is possible, and right there, that was a pretty sick salvo. In the meantime, however, I managed to secure my second frag of the game on that enemy Hindenburg, the tier 10 German heavy cruiser. So I'm already having a really good impact on this game. You can see that my positioning right now is pretty stellar in the Echo 9 grid square. Just kind of in a kiting position as Anna right there manages 2 citadels, 4 penetrating hits, another big meaty salvo there of about 30,000 points of damage on that enemy Worcester. So he's got some really big salvos already downrange in this game. He's up to 112,000 points of damage as we've just crossed the 5.5 minute mark of the battle. So having a really good impact on this game so far from range. However, you can see the Anna's team is not really doing so hot at this point. The friendly Salem of Chirkwood has had to make his way back from that group that was pushing, because the Salem was eating a lot of damage right there. And also the Des Moines, the Daring, and the Kremlin are making their way onto the B cap. However, they're kind of running into a hornet's nest of enemy ships. You can see that I'm in position waiting for them to potentially come around the corner. There's the Worcester that's just waiting for them to come around the corner as well. The Zau's in a decent spot. The Z-52 actually has a really good angle for torpedoes. So this assault that they're doing right now is dubious at best. They still have 3 ships, of course, and they all have a decent amount of hit points, but definitely it seems a little bit like desperation is starting to set in for Anna's team at the moment, and it's going to be a little quiet for him here for the next couple of minutes. Obviously, he was way down onto the 9 line, so he's going to have to get back into this battle as he tosses a blind shot into that smoke screen where the Z-52 is sitting, and he actually does manage to get 1 overpen, but it's going to take him a little bit more time to be able to move into a much better position. The friendly Daring of his is down to 2,400 hit points. Maybe he got raided by the Worcester, I'm not sure, but you can see that the Montana salvo coming in, and it manages to take care of the Daring. However, the Des Moines does take care of the Z-52, and as we all know, whether it's ranked or randoms, even if your team has a pretty significant kill lead and things are going good, all it takes is for a couple of dudes to get out of position to slowly turn the tables back in your favor. And that Z-52 needlessly dying right there, knowing that the Des Moines was going to charge in and get within radar range, is going to come back to bite my team in this game over the course of the battle, because losing that destroyer now means that although Anna's team at the moment has lost their destroyer, now it's going to require the cruisers and the battleships to go in and get on those caps by themselves, which obviously is going to be a little bit difficult to do due to the much greater concealment and whatnot. Now, Anna's next salvo going down range at me, I've kind of made my way back to help out with the friendly Des Moines, at least on my team, that is chasing that Salem to the south. He's on 12,000 hit points and still engaging the enemy Des Moines on my team, so not really sure why he's still in the open water. You can also see that he is kind of running broadside to me, and as my next salvo goes down range, any second now, and I pick up my 3rd frag of the game on the Salem. So 3 kills so far. Things were looking really good, and I was feeling really confident about myself. At this point, I was already over 100,000 damage, just like Anna is with the 3 frags, and I was thinking to myself that this game should be coming in the bag. At least that's what I thought. So we'll see if things change. Anna manages to get 2 overpens on the Montana as he picks up the high caliber at 120,000 points of damage, but there is still plenty more dealing that needs to be done in this game. However, his team is actually going to be able to buy him some time. They've had the A capture point in their control for quite a few minutes, and although the Des Moines is going to get on it from my team, that has been a constant source of points for Anna's, as well as his friendlies being able to secure the B capture point. With that Z-52 on my team dying, it actually allowed them to get that capture point secured instead of staying completely spotted, and because of that, Anna's team has actually brought in the scores back quite a bit with the points that they've been able to accrue from both the A and the B capture points. And as Anna goes around the corner here, well, Riders is 8.2 kilometers away from a fully gunned Yamato. That is definitely not the best place to be, especially in open water for an American heavy cruiser like the Des Moines, and he eats only 17,600 damage as a bunch of AP shells slam home right above the belt armor into that very weak upper belt that the Des Moines and a lot of the cruisers have. Now you can see in this situation, I actually had my guns trained over towards the Kremlin. I wanted to try to stay as angled as possible to Anna here, because obviously I was moving in this direction to try and anticipate his play, but I'm still getting my guns over the shoulder at the Kremlin on Anna's team, and in the meantime he gets some really good RNG going right through the nose of the Des Moines. Not that going through the nose on a Des Moines is special. Obviously, these guns are able to overmatch, but some very pinpoint accuracy on a somewhat small profile nose that the Des Moines has, and he manages to take him out. So actually, I was counting on the Des Moines being able to last another salvo or two and being able to hurt Anna here down a little bit more. Now, I do turn a little too much broadside, but I really wanted to get one more salvo on the Kremlin. As you saw, he was down to about 4,000 hit points. So as the Montana does manage to burn him down, I do eat a decent salvo in return, but I did chunk him from 17 to 4K to all but ensure that that kill was going to happen. And as a token of that salvo, the friendly Worcester on my team actually did not die. So right now, Anna is in a very bad situation. It's a 4 versus 2, and of course, as he does turn a little broadside to get all of his guns, unfortunately, some of my shells go just a little bit high, and I was not able to punish him for that. But you can see, even if I'm angling as best as I can, he's going to get a lot of penetrations. But now that line of sight has been blocked, I'm going to be able to get onto this A capture point, and it's going to provide, or present, I should say, Anna with a bit of a dilemma. He knows that he has to go and try to deal with me, but citadeling a Republique can be very, very tricky. Even at point-blank range, you're not guaranteed to get citadels unless you hit very specific parts of the ship at very specific angles, at least through my experience, especially around the rear turret, going through the athwart ship at a small angle, or at point-blank range, just going right through the center portion of the ship. Those have been the spots that I've found the most success with, but I am going to be able to get this A capture point right as I do get detected. Now, of course, like I said, I'm nose in. It does not matter whatsoever. He only manages to get his 2 forward turrets shooting at me, and a whole bunch of shells hit me for 18,700 points of damage. So, obviously, that's the Yamato in a nutshell, and that's what makes it such a dangerous threat to other enemy battleships. Now, of course, I do have that island that just helped me provide or get out of line of sight from Anna. I'm now going to be able to hopefully get behind that and create an awkward situation for him. He's still going to pelt me with his 18.1-inch caliber guns, and even with some shady dispersion, the shells still managed to find some weak bits of my armor to hit for 8,200 points of damage. So I'm down to about 21,000 hit points. Unfortunately, his nose was angled plenty good enough to bounce all of the shells, obviously going for that octagonal citadel. In the meantime, his friend in the Des Moines actually manages to take out the Worcester. I'm not 100% sure why that Worcester was out in open water to begin with, but now it makes it a 3 versus 2 situation. His team is actually winning 700 to 521. However, my team has both of the capture points, and that Des Moines of his is about ready to go down. So there's still 7 minutes left in the game, so this is still anyone's game. And because he has 82,000 points of HP to work with, this is still plenty carryable for him if he manages to make the right plays. Now, the Zao manages to burn down the Des Moines, so now it's a 1 versus 3. However, his salvo that he got off right before the Zao went undetected does over 11,000 points of damage. However, I decide to try to catch him here at the corner with my rear guns. Unfortunately, the dispersion sent a couple shells high, and they were both over penetrations, which I was very upset about, because I figured if I could at least get a couple pens, if not 1 citadel, that certainly would help my cause. However, I do move forward in time, so all of his shells hit the island or the hitbox just to the left of it. I really wanted that salvo to go in, but Anna, of course, did not let that happen. And I guess in retrospect, he was angled enough that even if I would have hit right at the waterline, there is a chance that my shells would have bounced off of his belt armor. So at this point, I was definitely waiting for my team, hoping that the Montana and the Zao would be able to get over here. You can see that the Zao was shooting at Anna a couple times, and now he's also throwing some blind shots into the capture point as well. His scouting aircraft does detect me. Once again, I was trying to maybe get a cheeky shot with the rear turret over the corner of the island. Obviously, Anna at this point is turning hard in, and unfortunately, more over penetrations. Some of the shells went high again. I was starting to get a little annoyed at this point because every salvo that I sent at him, at least 1 or 2 of the shells went high and did overpen damage. Now, why this Zao is in open water with line of sight on only 7,000 hit points, granted he is healing, I really don't know. It's just like random battles. People do stuff that you just have no idea why, and of course, the somewhat lackluster dispersion actually manages to have 3 shells tumble onto the Zao's deck armor, which it's easily able to overmatch, and Anna picks up his 3rd kill of the game. He's up to 236,000 points of damage, but finally this friendly Montana of mine is now hopefully going to be able to distract him for a little bit of time. In the meanwhile, I managed to go back around the island, and I am coming full steam ahead around the corner, and there we go. Now he's going to swing his guns into play. My forward turret finally, the aim is true, the RNG is good, 30,000 damage. The rear turret coming into play, hitting him for about 9,000. I think that I'm angled enough, and ridiculous dispersion manages to get 24,000 points of damage on me, and not just knock out the turret, but completely destroy it. So now, unfortunately, I'm only able to use my rear gun, and you can see that he continues to turn to his right. The next salvo, although my secondaries do light the fire, angled just a little bit too much, and all of my shells bounce off of his thwart ship, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to get this next salvo off because he will be able to get his guns reloaded in time and kill me. Talk about a bad break right there, because my forward guns certainly would have been able to finish the job. And now the Montana, of course not. I mean, why not? He's not in position to shoot. And now what you're going to see over the next 4 minutes is, oh boy. I don't know whether to be angry watching this or just to laugh incessantly. This Montana, all he has to do is just keep coming around the corner, and he blows his load, sorry for that sexual innuendo, into an angled belt. Only does about 3,000 points of damage, and then he decides to beach. Oh, man. You know, I got some Di Soruno Italian liquor in my freezer. I think it's about time after this recording is over with that I go pour myself a glass and go sit on the couch and reflect on life. I just, you know, I've always been nice doing these replays, and I hope that all the time that I've, you know, done community replays and featured other people's gameplay, I hope I've provided some insightful commentary with some funny jokes from time to time, but this Montana, this, to pull a word out of my military jargon, this behooves me. I have zero idea. I was staring at my computer screen as Anna picks up the Confederate. Of course, he's going to go right through the nose of the Montana for about 15,000 points of damage, but I digress. As I was sitting here watching this Montana, it just, there's so many PG-13 R-rated things that I want to say right now, but I just don't get it. I mean, yes, I probably could have been angled a little bit more, and as you saw, Anna placed the salvo right into the perfect part of my ship, going right through the athwart ship, basically face Fucking-ing me for 24,000 points of damage. So good on him. He managed to land the shot. But this Montana is able to come around the corner because he had to turn to the right to not get nuked by me, and he beached himself. And he's sitting broadside, and this Montana literally chickens out and decides that the best play is to ram the island and then start reversing and then start shooting AP at a Yamato that is perfectly angled. He finally switches to the high explosive right here. It just, dudes and dudettes, boys and girls, men and women, captains of this game that are watching, it just, oh gosh. You know, Puddin has his videos where he rages. You know, he does his Puddin talks. Sometimes he rages, sometimes he doesn't. The things that I want to say right now are just ridiculous. Now, Anna, in the meantime, has picked up over 305,000 points of damage. However, in the last couple minutes, while I've been rambling on about the absolutely god-awful, horrible, terrible, no good, very bad play that this Montana made, well, Anna's team is actually losing. It's 810 to 855. The B capture point has continuously gotten points for our team, my team, I should say. And now Anna basically has to kill this guy in the next minute, or our team is going to win the game. Even if he goes for the ram and manages to kill him, we still have more points accrued at this moment, so we are going to win the game. So, although the Montana did all of that absolute garbage and nonsense, seeing that, if I was Anna, I probably would have made a little bit of a desperation play, and as the people in chat are saying, try to get around to the side and maybe go for the nuke. I know that that sounds a little ridiculous because obviously the Yamato has that huge citadel, but at this point you can see that his shells that are hitting the front of the nose of the Montana by this point have completely saturated the bow with damage. There's not much more that he's going to be able to get out of that, and this Montana is literally playing horribly, just absolutely playing horribly. Again, it behooves me that this person is capable of playing this game and has managed to make it to the ranked 5. I mean, I have no idea here. Anna goes for a huge nuke right through the nose at 15,000 points of damage. However, he's a little too close, decides to turn to the right, gets the ram and the Kraken, and the game ends. Alrighty, guys, taking a look at the post-battle results, 373,000 points of damage dealt off of 97 shell hits. That ratio for a Yami is absolutely batshit crazy. He picked up Confederate, 2 Dev Strikes, Kraken Unleashed, and High Caliber, killing 5 of the enemy ships. He had 6 Citadels, 21 base defense ribbons, 1 solo base capture, and 98 secondary hits. Taking a looking. Wow. That dude, that Montana's bad play has just got my brain frittered right now. I can't even English. An Arion right there. 3,009 base XP on the losing team. That is hands down the most ridiculous ranked replay that I have ever seen in my entire life. 3k base XP. I get it. There's only 7 ships, so you're going to get a disproportionate amount of XP per damage dealt or ship killed that you would compared to a random battle. But who literally cares? 3,009 base XP. That is beyond absurd. And his team loses because the bottom 5 players are all terrible. On the enemy team, I finished first, 3 frags, 2,631 base XP. But who cares? 3k base XP in a loss. I would be so tilted beyond relief. Everybody hates ranked to some level. That is just... Alright, I'm done. I don't want to look at it anymore. This is so dumb. I so totally feel bad for you, dude. You made a great play killing me, and your play throughout most of the game was absolutely exceptional. And that Montana just oh gosh, that just pisses me off. 323,000 damage dealt with the AP. Obviously, the Yamato, it basically doesn't care about armor, as I've said a few times. That's its thing. 40,000 damage with the fires set. About 10,000 damage with the secondaries. 105,000 damage on me. He kind of diddled me throughout that game, so it's okay. BN's got a lot of good players. That makes sense. So, and Arion, I'm sorry you lost this game, bro. Like, I was sweating balls at the end watching that Montana do that. Like, I almost started screaming, and I'm pretty chill, but ranked brings out this masochistic, like, alter ego of mine where that's one of the reasons why I hardly play ranked, because it just makes me so mad. But I'm sorry you lost this game, bro. That is absolute bullshit. So I hope you enjoyed the commentary. I know it was a little different than my usual calm tone, calm demeanor, just straightforward, but this replay, as soon as I saw it, it reminded myself of that game, and I was like, oh yeah, let's do it. So, thanks for sending this in, man. Absolutely great battle. GG to you, sir. I am sorry that my Montana was such a moron. It's okay. It's okay. This is the Sneaky Snake for BIA World of Warships signing off. Guys and gals, as always, thanks for the likes, thanks for the comments, thanks for all the subscribers. We appreciate you taking your free time to watch our stuff. And with that being said, have a great day.